We begin today the Gemara at Chav Gimel Amud Beis, the second line from the bottom of the Amud. Ibaya lahu. We had a Mishnah. Mishnah said a case where a person wants his friend to join him for a meal, and his friend is refusing. So he says to his friend that I make a neder that if you're not going to eat by me, so then you'll never be able to have any anah from me, from anything that I own. So Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov in the Mishnah said, according to the way the Gemara interpreted this, that this is another example of what's called nidrei zeruzin. When a person is making a neder, and he does not mean the neder at all, he's just making it to motivate his friend to do something. So there was two examples. In the beginning of the Perek, it brought an example of this kind of a neder when it comes to a sale, and there's a negotiation. So each the buyer and the seller are each saying, no, I'm not going to pay more. He's saying, no, I'm not going to take less. So over there we know it's just a negotiating tactic, and it's not a real neder. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov said, not only by a sale, but it's similar also when you're trying to invite someone and he doesn't want to join you, and you make this neder, so you also didn't mean the neder. You're just trying to show how much you really want him to join you. So on this the Gemara asks, Ibaya lahu. The question there is, Pligi Rabbanan aled Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Did the Rabbanan argue on Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov regarding this point? Oiloi. Or they did not, since the Mishnah here is said only in the name, but that this is what Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov said, so it's possible that the Rabbanan hold that in this case it's not called nidrei zeruzin. Maybe in a sale, over there it's more common that when you say a neder in a negotiation of a sale, that's something that you're just saying to get the other person to budge from the price that he's ready to pay or to take. But over here, when it comes to inviting someone, it's not exactly negotiating a price in the sale. So over here, maybe this neder is a serious neder. You're upset at this person for not wanting to join you for the meal, and therefore you're making a neder and you're telling him, if you're not coming today, you'll never be able to come to have any anah from me again. And maybe this neder is a serious neder. Or no. Or maybe the Rabbanan agreed to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov that this is just a way to show this person how much you want him to join you, and it's not a serious neder. Vim tim tzaleima pligi. And if we're going to say that the Rabbanan do argue with Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, so the question is, Hilchas kavasei oiloi. Do we paskin like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, or do we not? On one hand, there's a rule, I don't know if it's brought over here in some of the Rishonim, that regarding Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, whenever Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says his opinion, we paskin like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. The Gemara says that Mishnahs Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov kavanoki. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov's opinions, whatever is quoted in the Mishnah, what he says is 100% pure and clean. It's we're always paskin like him. But on the other hand, if the Rabbanan, which are the majority, argue with him, it's possible the halach is like the Rabbanan. So Tashama, the Gemara brings a Mishnah later in the Masechta. The Mishnah says there, a person tells his friend, I make a neder that I will not have any benefit of you if you're not going to take from me for your son a big amount of wheat or 2 barrels of wine for your son. So then what's the halacha? This person did not go and take this wine, did not take this wheat. So now this neder should take effect. But nevertheless, this neder could be mutter, could be allowed. It's not a neder, even without going to a chacham to request a heter for this neder. Why? Because the recipient or the person that he's trying to give this to, he's trying to say, here, take this for your son. This individual could say, why are you saying that I should take this from my son? You're saying that I should take this because it's all for me, it's for my honor. So if so, my honor is that I'm not interested in taking this gift. He doesn't want to take the gift. Doesn't it say, so he's not interested in this gift. So therefore, the recipient is basically saying that there'll be no reason for your neder, b'chlal. You made this neder, why? Because you wanted to show me such great honor that I should get this from my son. My honor was granted. I have already my honor. And therefore comes out that the whole neder is pointless. The neder does not take effect at all. So we have a new svara, a new concept where a recipient could say this, and therefore it'll annul the whole vow. Says the Gemara, one at a time. What?
Why is the recipient being matter the
It's not being matter. He can't be matter the neder. It's just he shows that the idea of what the giver wanted to accomplish was accomplished. So if it was accomplished, so then there's no neder. So the Gemara now says, what do you see from here? The reason why we say that he doesn't need a heter for the neder is the Amar Zel Kvaidi. It's because of this new svara that this Mishnah says that the recipient could say that this is my honor. I don't need to actually get it. But without this svara, nedaru. This would be considered to be a neder. You're begging him, come, take food for your son, and he doesn't want to take it. Then you say, if you're not going to take it, so then I will not have any anah from you. And we say that this neder takes effect. So the question is, how many? So many, that is. Who is this Mishnah going according to? Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, if it would go according to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, Nidrei Zeruzin Ava. This is another example of Nidrei Zeruzin. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says, if you're begging a person to join you in a meal and he doesn't want to come, and you're saying, if you're not going to come, you'll never be able to have a nah from me again, it's not a serious neder. You're just trying to motivate him to come. Over here as well, you're trying to motivate this person to take this food for his son, so it's not a serious neder. Why does that Mishnah have to come up with a new svara that the recipient could say, this is my honor, I already got it? This is just a nidrei zeruzin. It's clear that the person never meant this neder. It's just a motivating neder. Hello. So what must we say? Shma mina pligi rabbanan aleh. That this Mishnah there goes according to the Rabbanan. They argue on Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. In such a case, when it comes to food, trying to share food with somebody, this is not called a nidrei zeruzin, and therefore that Mishnah says in that case, the recipient could say that I already received my honor. Says the Gemara, no, la'olam Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. I could still tell you that Mishnah there is Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, and that case is not compared to the Mishnah that we had over here. Why? Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, Bahai, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov would be Maide in this case here, the Nidra Have. That over here it is a Neder. If you look at the details of the case, it's not exactly the same to the Mishnah that we spoke about. They're both talking about you trying to give food to somebody, but it's not the same thing. What did the person say in our Mishnah? In our Mishnah, the person said, if you're not going to join me with the meal today, you'll never be able to have a nar from me again. Over here, his neder is a bit different. If you're not going to take from me this wine and wheat that I want to give to you for your son, I will never take anything from you. That's what he's saying. So therefore the Gemara says, the Amalei, what he really means to say to him is, Loi kalbana. I'm not a dog. The mishanina minoch. That I'm going to have a nar from you, v'loi mishanes minoi, and you're not going to have a nar from me. Yeah. If I'm giving to you for your son, and you don't want to accept it, so if you don't want to accept any anar from me, so then I don't want to accept any anar from you. I'm not going to be like a dog, where I'm just going to take anar from you, and you're not taking anything from me. So therefore over here, this kind of a neder that the person says, that if you're not going to take this from me, I'm not going to take anything from you, it actually looks like a serious neder. This person is serious. He doesn't want that it should be a one-way street. So therefore in this case, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov would be made that it's a serious neder, unless we have this new svara that the recipient could say, I received it, don't worry. I got from you, ze'el kvaidi, I got from you, and you can take from me. So therefore, this Mishnah could still be Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. We have no raya that the Rabbanan disagree. Toshama, now over there in that Mishnah continues a very similar thing the Gemara is going to go through now, but let's see, very similar. Person says to his friend, Kainem sha'atan anisli, I make a neder that you should not have any anah from me, im iyatanoisen libni kor shel chitin v'shtei chavi shel yayin. If you are not going to give my son a big amount of wheat to a kor or 2 barrels of wine. So over here it's the same idea, but it's the other way around. He's saying that I want you to give me or my son for the purpose to use for my son this wheat or wine, and if you're not going to give me, so then you should not have anah from me. So Rab Meir says, At sheyitain, that aser at sheyitain, that the neder takes effect. If he's not going to give, then you'll not be allowed to have any anah from him. Chachamim oimrim, however, the Chachamim disagree and say, Av zeh yochel lahater es nidroi. In this case as well, the neder could be allowed shalei al pi chacham, without going to a chacham to make a pesach for your neder. Shiyochel loima, because the person could say, the person over here that makes the neder, here it's the person that's making the neder, and he wanted to get wine and wheat from his friend for his son, he can say, Areini ki ilu is kabalti. I will consider it as if I received this from you. And therefore, you should be allowed to have anah from me because I did receive this from you. I didn't actually receive it, but it's as if I received it from you. Okay, now this is interesting. This svara, Areini ki ilu is kabalti, the Ran over here brings this idea. Seemingly, you can use this in many different cases. A person makes a condition for his neder. For example, a person says that if I'm not going to go there, or if I am going to go there, then this neder should take effect. Could you also say that now it's as if I went there, or it's as if I didn't go there? Could you, this ki'ilu idea, could you always say this? So it's not so pashut. Usually, so the Ran says usually you can't say this idea that it's as if it happened. But over here, when it comes to people giving to one another, similar to what the Gemara says before, that the recipient says, this is my honor, and therefore it's as if I got it. Over here as well, he's saying that it's just an idea of us sharing with each other. I don't want it to be a one-way street, and therefore you don't have to actually give it to me. The fact that you were ready to give it to me, it's as if I got it, and therefore you could have an offer from me. Now, again, the Gemara says the same thing it said before. The only reason why this neder is going to be allowed is because of this new svara we have here, that he can say it's as if I received it. Without this, it would be a neder samani. Who is this mission according to? If this mission would be Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, nidre doesn't have it. Why do I need this new idea of keilu is kabalti? Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov already said regarding food, if you're trying to give food, or in this case you're trying to receive food, and you make a neder in connection to that, it's just a motivating neder. It's not a real neder in the first place. Elolav Rabbanon. So we must say that mission there is the Rabbanon. Upligi, and they argue on Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, and the only reason it's not a neder is because of this new idea of keilu is kabalti. So the Gemara again says, Loi, you don't have to say this is the Rabbanon. Loi lam Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, that Mishnah there is Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Umayde Rabbi Eliezer will admit behind Nidra that over here that this neder is different. This neder should take effect. Mishum da'al malei, because this person that's saying, I want you to give for me, for my son, this wine or this wheat, he says to him, look, lav malka no, I'm not a king, the mahanina loch, that I have to constantly give you benefit, that I have to provide for you, and you don't give anything to me. It's a two-way street. Similar to what the Gemara said before, when the person says, when he's trying to give, he says, I'm not a dog that I'm just going to receive without giving. So to over here, the person says, I'm not a king that I'm only going to give without receiving. It's a two-way street. So therefore, in such a case, when a person makes a neder, without the svara, that it's keilu is kabalti, I would say that the neder takes effect. And that's why you need this new svara. Even Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov would agree to this. Here, I'll bring you a raya from a Mishnah that we're going to learn later over here in this Pedic. Nidrei Einsin. One of the categories of the Nedarim in the beginning of this Pedic, where it says that the neder does not take effect at all. Right? Nidrei Einsin, a neder, where you made a neder connected to a certain condition, and then an Einis happened out of your control. So does that neder take effect? Or it does not? And the Mishnah there explains what this is. Nidrei Einsin, hidirei chaveirai sheyechel etzlai. You made a neder with your friend. Again, you're trying to invite your friend to come and eat with you. And you made a neder. If you're not going to come eat with me now, make a neder that you'll be usher to eat with me or to have enough from me forever. And now v'chalahu. And this person wanted to come, but he got sick. He couldn't come. Or his son got sick, so he had to stay with his son. Or a river that he wanted to pass through, he couldn't pass through. So what does it say over there? So then the neder does not take effect because this is an einus. He didn't mean that if you don't come with this kind of an einus, the neder should take effect. Because it's an einus, so the neder never takes effect. No, says the Gemara, what do you see over here? Again, this is a Mishnah that's giving an example of a case that Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov is speaking about. You're inviting a person to come and eat with you. And you're making a neder that if you're not going to come and eat with me, then you'll be aser. So what we see from this Mishnah is, what's the reason why the neder doesn't take effect? Because an einus occurred. But if it wasn't an einus, nederu. So then the neder does take effect. So mani, according to whose opinion is that Mishnah there? Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. If it's Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, you don't have to say that this is because it's an einus it doesn't take effect. Zeruzanave. That's a neder where you're trying to motivate the person to come and join your meal, and your whole neder is not serious in the first place, even without an einus. Ella says the Gemara, lav Rabbanon. Don't we have to say that Mishnah is Rabbanon? Upligi, and they argue on Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov that the whole idea of Nidrei Zeruzin is only regarding negotiation and a sale, but not regarding food. Says the Gemara, no, la'olam Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. I can really tell you that Mishnah there is Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Umi savres the adrei mezamna lezamina. Do you understand that Mishnah that the case is that the person that's inviting, he's the one that makes the neder to the person that he's trying to invite? That seems to be the simple pshat of that Mishnah. Says the Gemara, that's not the case. Loi, that's not the pshat there. The zamina adrei lemezamna. It's actually the one that's getting invited that's making this neder with the person that's inviting him. Okay? In other words, over here the situation is the person that's getting invited is so desperate to be sure that he's actually going to join. He's desperate to actually come and join the meal, so he makes a neder with the person that's inviting him to be sure that he's actually going to come. Amalei, if a person says to his friend, would you invite me to a meal? Amalei, so he says, yes, sure, come join me for your meal. So then the person that is getting invited says, neder ze alecha. So I'm making a neder with you, that if I'm going to come, so then so good. If not, so then my money should be asur on you, or your money should be asur on me. He's making a neder with the person that invited him in order that he should be sure that he should actually let him into the door, in order that he should actually be able to come. He wants true, but he said in, but he wants to make sure that he's actually going to make it and he's going to let him in. So v'nadar, he made this neder. The person that's getting invited makes this neder, but then v'chalohu oishachala b'noi, he got sick, his son got sick, a river stopped him of coming, and he couldn't come. So what happens now? The neder of the person that was getting invited should take effect. So on this the Mishnah there said, Hare elu nidrei oinsin. This is a neder, because of the oinis, it does not take effect. So over here, the concept of nidrei ziruzin is not possible at all. It's not. Before we were thinking that it's a person that's trying to invite somebody and he doesn't want to join you. So it's about motivating him to come. So it's nidrei ziruzin. Over here, the person that's getting invited is very motivated to come. He's so motivated. He himself is actually asking to make a neder that to be sure that he's going to be able to come. So he's very serious about this neder. It's not a nidrei ziruzin. But the fact that an einus occurred, so therefore the neder does not take effect. Toshama, another raya, the Gemara tries to bring, and here this is a pretty clear raya regarding the fact that the Rabbanon argued on Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Braisa says, Yeser al Kain, Amar Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov said even more than what it says in our Mishnah. A person tells his friend, Kainim shani nenelach, make a neder, you'll never be able to have a nor from me. If you don't not come and be my guest, and eat with me, paschama, a warm bread, tishtim, and drink with me, kaischamin, a warm drink. And the person that he invited was makpid. He was not upset about this. He didn't join him. He didn't come. So in such a case, what happens? So the Mishnah here said, the Braisa here that it says, Af elu nidrei ziruzin. So this as well is nidrei ziruzin. Okay, 1 second. I made a mistake when I typed it before. Going back to the beginning of the lashon of the Braisa here. What did he say? Kainem shani neneloch. Kainem shani neneloch does not mean that you will never be able to have anah from me if you don't come with me today. That's actually the case of the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that a person is saying that you'll never be able to have anah from me if you don't come now. But over here, shani neneloch, he's saying if you're not going to be my guest now, I will never be a guest by you. I will never have anah from you. Similar to the cases that we had before when the person was trying to give someone wine, and he says, if you're not going to take this wine, I will never have anah from you. So over here the Gemara is saying now that in this case, that we say that this is nidrei ziruzin. This is considered to be nidrei ziruzin. Now the Ran points out the chiddush of what the Gemara is saying over here is, before the Gemara gave a svara to explain that this is not called nidrei ziruzin, because in this case, we can say that the person actually meant his neder seriously. Why? Because the person could say, what am I, a king that I have to give you and you don't give me? So or the Gemara before said the svara, am I a dog that I take and I don't give? So in such a case where the person says that if you're not going to come and eat by me, I'm not going to eat by you, so there is a svara to say that this is a serious neder. But the chiddush over here is, the Braisa is saying, even in this case, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov considered this to be nidrei ziruzin. So there's 3 cases we have it for nidrei ziruzin. There's a negotiation and a sale. That's obviously nidrei ziruzin. Everybody knows that he's not serious about it. Then there's the case of the Mishnah, where a person says to someone, if you're not going to join me today, I'll never allow you to have anah from me. That's also nidrei ziruzin. You see, he's just trying to motivate him. And then there's an even bigger chiddush, when you say, if you're not going to have anah from me, I will not have anah from you. Even that's considered to be nidrei ziruzin. You're just trying to motivate him to come. And on this the Braisa says, V'loi hoidu lechachamim. The chachamim were not made to what Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov said. So here clearly, the Braisa clearly says, the chachamim were not made. My loi hoidu lechachamim. What does it mean when it says in the Braisa, chachamim were not made? Lav, don't you think it means that afilu b'kamaisa? Not only in this case, what it says here in this Braisa, that if you don't have anah from me, I will not have anah from you, that in this case, chachamim do not consider this to be nidrei ziruzin. because of the svara we said before, because he's basically saying that I'm not a king that I have to give you, and I'm not a dog that I just take from you. So not only in this case are Chachamim not Maideh, but the Chachamim are not Maideh even in the Mishnah. That's the way the Gemara understands this, because, as the Mefarshim say, the Lashon is Loi Hoidu Le Chachamim. It's mashma, they weren't Chachamim, were not Maideh to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov at all. Not only regarding this case, but even regarding the Mishnah. That's what Kamaisa means. Afilu B'Kamaisa, even regarding the Mishnah. Shmami no, Pligi Rabbanan Alei. So from here we see that the Rabbanan argue on Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, Shmami no. And this is clear, this Braisa says that the Rabbanan argue on Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. But there is another version, many Rishonim are guided. If you look at the bottom line, the Ran brings V'dachinon, the Gemara answers and says, Loi b'basraisa. Maybe Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov only argues, the Rabbanon only argue with Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov regarding this case in the Braisa here. Because of the svara the Gemara brought before. When a person says, I will not have anah from you if you don't have anah from me. He doesn't want it, he wants it to be a two-way street. But regarding the case of the Mishnah, where a person says, if you're not going to come, you'll never be able to come to my house again. That's a Nidrei Ziruzin. Over there, he's just trying to motivate him to come to his house today. So, according to this Girsa, the Gemara is not bringing a raya from here regarding the Mishnah. It's just saying that over here we see clearly Rabbanan argued, but not on the Mishnah. Ma'ayavi Allah. So now the Gemara asks, so what is the actual halacha? Who do we paskin like, right? The Gemara before, when it asked this question, asked, do we paskin like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov? Do we paskin like the Rabbanon? Tashema, the Gemara brings a raya, Damar Rav Huna. Rav Huna said, halacha Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, that we paskin like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. And the Gemara understands that this means even regarding the case of the Mishnah, that in the Mishnah, the halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. So either because the Rabbanon never argued on the Mishnah, or even if the Rabbanan did argue on the Mishnah, but the Gemara understands that Rav Huna was speaking about the Mishnah. That the halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, that all of these cases are considered to be nidrei zeruzim, whether regarding a negotiation of a sale, whether when you're trying to invite someone and he's not coming, and even if you tell a person, if you don't have enough from me, I won't have enough from you, the halacha is going to be like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, and it's not a real neder. So, Mishnah, the next category of the four types of nedarim that are not nedarim, nidrei havoy. A person makes a neder which is really nonsense. The neder is meaningless. What is this? So the Mishnah gives two examples. Alma, a person says, kainam, I accept upon myself a neder that this would be also to me. Im loyre isi baderech hazeh. If I had not seen on this way here, koyle Mitzrayim, the number of people like what left Mitzrayim. 600,000 people that left Mitzrayim, a ridiculous number of people. Right? So he obviously did not, it's an exaggeration. He obviously did not see that amount of people there. And therefore, when he says this, the neder does not take effect. Right? Because Olam Mitzrayim, the point over here is that when a person sees many, many people, so it seems to be so many people, so he uses the expression of Olam Mitzrayim. So the truth is, he did not see the number of people of Olam Mitzrayim. So therefore the neder should take effect, because he did not see that amount of people. But because he did see so many people, so that's what he really meant. He meant, if it's not true that I saw many, many people, he's just using an exaggeration. So therefore the neder does not take effect, because he actually saw a lot of people. Then another example the Mishnah says, Im loyre isi nachash kekayres beis habad. The person says, if it's not true that I saw a snake that's as large as the kaira that's used in this beis habad where you press the olives, massive snake, if it's not true that I saw such a massive snake, my neder should take effect. So over here, the Ran actually points out that the reason why this neder does not take effect is not similar to Olam Mitzrayim. Olam Mitzrayim, when a person sees a lot of people, he sometimes refers to it, so many people like Olam Mitzrayim. People speak with exaggerations. But over here, this is not an exaggeration. This is something which the Ran calls tiruf. This is Stam, person saying something crazy. And he's Stam saying it to get people's attention. Stam an attention grabber. It means nothing. So over here, people don't even express themselves this way, even by an exaggeration. It's Stam crazy. So therefore the neder does not take effect. Tana in Braisa we learned nidrei avoi mutaren. When a person makes a neder in such a way, the two examples the Mishnah says, and it's nonsense, so that's mutter. Shvuas avoi, person makes a shvua, and with these kinds of exaggerations, asurin. Over here it's asur, it will take effect. And the reason why by a shvua it does take effect is because we already learned before, the Gemara says a shvua is more stringent than a neder, because regarding a shvua, the Torah uses the term lo yanaka, that will not be pure if you don't keep your neder, your shvua that is. Okay, so therefore by Shvuah it will take effect. But I believe most Rishonim say that even when the Gemara says by Shvuah it takes effect, it doesn't mean Minat Torah, because Minat Torah he didn't mean it. But Midrabanan they will machmer that you should be careful what you say in the lashon of a Shvuah, and therefore it will take effect in the Rabbanan. So the Gemara asks, Hey Chidami, when it says here the Shvuah, so what exactly did this person say? Hey Chidami Shvuah Savoy. If you're going to say what the person said is the Omar, if we're going to say similar to what it said in the Mishnah, Shvuah imloi re'isi baderech hazeh. A Shvuah, I say a Shvuah if I did not see somebody in this way. Midam ka'amar, is he saying something? The word midam means something. Is he saying? He's not saying anything. Shvuah what? He didn't. When you say the Mishnah was speaking about kainam, a person says this object should be a carbon. It should be asa to me if it's not true that I saw many people there. But when a person stam says a shvuah, if I did not see many people here like Olam Mitzrayim, that's a meaningless statement. He's not making anything asa to him. Amar Abaye says the Omar, what the person says is shvuah shareisi. I swear that I saw this number of people there. So in such a case, it's saying that it's Asr. And why is it saying that it's Asr? So according to what the Gemara is saying now, the reason it's Asr is because this is actually called a Shvuah Shav. The issue over here is not that he made a Shvuah and now there's an issue that takes effect, that he's not allowed to have a Anah from something, but he said something which is not true. Just like a person that makes a neder regarding a rock, that this rock is gold, so it's a Shvuah Shav. If a person says, I make a Shvuah that I saw this number of people, so that's the Chiddush over here, that it's saying that it's a Shvuah Shav and it's going to be Asr. Amalei Rave, so Rave said on this, Im Kain, Lama Lila Meima, what's the Chiddush that this would be Asr? This is what's called a Shvuah Shav. The person said a Shvuah is something which is completely Asr. V'oid, another question is, Dumye de Neder Katani. The Mishnah, the Braisa that is, that says that by the Nedarim it'll be Moter, but by a Shvuah it'll be Asr. It's saying in a case that you made a Shvuah that's nonsense, similar to the case of the Nedarim that it said in the Mishnah. But what you just said now is this person is making a completely different type of shvuah. It's not at all similar to the neder. By the shvuah, he said a shvuah that I saw this number of people. Not that he's making anything asr on him. So therefore Rav says the pshat in our Mishnah is take the shvuah is similar to the neder. But what the person said is Ya'asru peiris ha'olam alai, fruits of the world should be asa to me b'shvuah. With a shvuah, I swear that they should be asa to me im loy re'isi baderech hazeh ka'olam Mitzrayim. If it's not true that I saw people of Olam Mitzrayim here, and therefore this is an exaggeration, and really he did see that amount of people. But so by the neder we say that it does not take effect because he saw it. But by the shvuah, midrabanan, we're machmer and it takes effect. Amalei Ravina Ravashi, and Ravina asks Ravashi on this, but vidilme, maybe what this person means is something else. Vidilme hai gavre, what this person meant to say is kine de shumshim chaze. Maybe he saw a big nest of ants. He saw millions of ants walking, going around on the ground. And va'asik lahan shma olam Mitzrayim. And therefore, what he says, all these ants that he saw, and he's referring to them as the number of Olam Mitzrayim that he saw, and V'shapim Mishtaba, and this is actually possible. Person that says that in this way, right over this road over here, I saw 600,000 people, that's something that's impossible. That's an exaggeration. And maybe the person didn't refer to human beings. Maybe he's referring to a bunch of ants, and that is something which is actually possible. Amalei, so Ravashi answers, we don't interpret a person's words this way. Ki mishtaba, when a person swears, adaite didon mishtaba. He's swearing the way normal people speak. And vanan lo maskina nafshe ashum shemini. When a person comes and says, I saw like the number of people of Olam Mitzrayim, he's not talking about ants. That's not the way people speak. So therefore, when a neder, you got to look in the actual language that the person says. And therefore, that's not what he's referring to. Just to point out that the Ran has a different gersa in the Gemara before. The gersa we have in our Gemara is that by you make a neder, that's this kind of neder, that's an exaggeration, so it's mutter, but by a shvuah, it'll be asr. The Ran's gersa in the Gemara actually is that even by a shvuah, it'll be mutter as well. That's what the Gemara is saying. It's a similar discussion in the continuation of the Gemara, but he's guided in the Gemara that by shvuah, it'll be mutter just like by a neder.